Hello, my name's Simon. I've been asked to talk about my 1972 Bond Bug. So here's a little video and I hope you enjoy it. So, 2,268 Bond Bugs were manufactured, firstly in Preston and then in Tamworth by Reliant Motor Cars, who bought Bond in 1968. The design is striking and recognisable pretty well by anyone who's a child of the 70s, and it was penned by Ogle Design and the famous designer Tom Carron. Tom Carron also designed the Rally Chopper, which is another icon of the generation. Okay, so it's stopped raining. I've been able to come outside now and show the Bond Bug off in a little better light. And as can be seen by the pinstriping and the sign writing on the back of the Bond, it's actually powered by a GSXR 1000cc bike engine. And I'll be able to show you some of the modifications that have been done. Not by myself, by a very clever gentleman called Robert Hibbert, who built the Bond a good few years ago now, and it's held up really well. Paintwork still looks good, the chassis is still good, and it's been driven a good few miles now. Okay, so here's how we get in the Bond. As I say, not very fast, but efficient. It works well. It's an electric linear actuator. And in here we can see the canopy open and the cockpits, moulded seats, all one fiberglass moulding. And here is the heart of the beast, 1000cc bike engine producing around 160 brake horsepower. As you can see, has no engine cover and therefore is incredibly loud, and on a hot day incredibly hot. The passengers' feet cook nicely down here, however it goes very well. Have ear defenders, which are essential. Most of the bike's electrics have been retained and modified. So for instance, the controls here would have been on the handlebars of the bike, and they're backed up by auxiliary controls down here. To start, it's simply engine runs lovely. Japanese reliability. And round here we have a Aprovic race cam. Okay, so when I bought the Bond Bug, it came with a huge amount of paperwork that the original builder, Robert Hibbard, had actually kept, so that was very handy to see what's what. We got the original handbook for the motorbike, original handbook for the Bond Bug, and also, more importantly, some build photographs so we can see what's actually under the plastic body shell of the Bond. And as you can see, we have a steel chassis, fully scratch built, very similar design to the original Bond chassis, but far stronger. Obviously, we have the single wheel at the front, where this has a Ford Fiesta disc caliper, and also we have a Vauxhall Astra steering rack. This makes the steering a lot less twitchy at the speeds that the Bond's capable of. Revolution 12-inch wheels. Here is the motorbike, the GSX-R 1000 motorbike that donated its engine and gearbox and electrical systems for the Bond. We have fully adjustable gas suspension on a 4-link Panhard rod, all polybushed. Chassis has been powder coated. Here you can see the radiator. And at the rear we have the Cosworth, Ford Sierra Cosworth calipers on Vauxhall Astra vented discs. And here you can see the engine mounted in the cradle, etc. And as I say, you can tell from the engineering of the actual machine that it's not just had a motorbike engine thrown into a normal Bond Bug chassis. Like most cars built by small British manufacturers, there's a lot of parts from other manufacturers. These lamps are Hillman Hunter, and unfortunately out the front here we have some Austin Allegro headlights. The Bond is actually steered with a steering rack off a Vauxhall Astra, and that stops it being as twitchy as it would be if it used the steering box from the Bond. Under here we can see the front suspension. Once again, disc brakes, brand new chassis. It's been fantastically engineered by the gentleman that built it, and yeah, it's a whole lot of fun. Okay, some further controls in the Bond. We have a brake bias adjustment down here for the front and rear brakes. We have the gearbox, which is a sequential gearbox, which is 1 knock forward for first gear and then 5 back. It's quite snug in here. Without the side screens on, it's a lot more pleasant to drive than with them on in winter. It soon warms up with the heat of the engine. There's an airbox here to stop induction roar. So the power to rate ratio is around 400 and something per ton. The Bond weighs in at about 365 kilos, and believe the power at the rear wheels 155 brake horsepower. It goes like a bullet, it really does. It handles surprisingly well, much better than you might think for a three-wheeler, due to the polybushed rear end, the stiffened suspension and the stiffness of the chassis. A roll cage may be an additional thing that may be required in the future. So with the Bond Bug having a Suzuki Japanese engine, brand new mechanicals and electrics, it's been really reliable. The only problem I've actually had is down to me. The differential in here is made for 30 something horsepower, and with putting 155 horsepower through it, I managed to smash it to pieces. So I managed to find a new one and fit that. Other than that, it's been a great little toy and I really enjoy it. So there we have it. That's my 1972 Bond Bug. It's great fun. They still stand out on the road. And I hope you've enjoyed watching the video. Thanks, bye.